Thank you. Okay, Chair.
Okay, thank you very much. So welcome to this meeting of the Cabinet Petitions Committee, which has been live streamed. My name is Councillor Wasim Ali. I'm the chair of the committee. Please can all attendees mute their microphones unless they have been invited to speak. Anyone wishes to speak, please use the raise hand feature or send a message using the chat feature, and I will invite you to turn on your microphone at the appropriate point. When you are finished speaking, please remember to turn off your microphone again. Please note that the petitioners have up to 5 minutes to address the committee. First of all, can all members of the committee present please introduce themselves in turn? I've got two members with me today, Councillor Millard and Councillor Taylor. Please in turn introduce yourselves.
Yeah, good afternoon. I'm Councillor Jackie Taylor, Cabinet Member for Sustainable Transport.
Good afternoon. Councillor Millard, I'm a Cabinet Member for Inclusive Economic Growth.
Thank you. We'll now start the meeting. So apologies for attendance. Have we received any apologies for absence?
None received, Chair.
Thank you. Minutes of the last meeting. The minutes of the meeting held on the 20th of January 2021 are presented. I move them as a correct record. Do we have a seconder?
I'm happy to second, Chair.
Thank you. Item 3, members to declare any interest. Do we have any member? Does any member have an interest to declare?
Chair, just in terms of the transparency, I have confirmed that this isn't actually necessarily something I would need to declare, but one of the petitions relates to Timber Crescent, and I live in that vicinity, so I'm quite aware of that area. But I have checked that it doesn't need declaration, but I just wanted it on record that I'm aware of it.
Thank you. Thank you for your transparency, Councillor Millard. We appreciate that. Thank you. Okay, so we'll move on to item agenda 4, which is the petitions progress report. And Trisha, so we have some people with us here today. Do we have anybody here from the residents of Old Worley?
Yes, I think we've got Mr. Anand.
Yep, we've got a hand up. Ms. Anand, you've got 5 minutes to address the committee. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Chair, for the opportunity to make my comments in this meeting on behalf of the Old Worley residents. And I would like also to thank the committee members and your operation colleagues who involved in processing of this petition first. Chair, this petition is signed by more than 60 local residents of Old Worley in just a matter of few days, and just due to the urgency of situation, we submitted this to the council. Otherwise, we would have got more signatures. But having said that, the petition itself is for a safe pedestrian crossing system, ideally a traffic light induced crossing in the junction of the roads, Bleak House Road, Castle Road West, and Perry Hill Road. It's a sort of numerous roads, creates a couple of islands in that place, and it is coupled with a lot of popular local shops as well, which makes the place very busy with both automobile users and cars parked on the road as well. And this is a sort of a gateway for to a more residential area within Old Worley. So it sort of connects people, parents taking the children from Brandall School from Lighthouse Primary through the thoroughfare to the more residential part. So this particular place gets a little complicated with so much traffic, especially during peak hours of morning and in the afternoon, and it's potentially dangerous as well, because there's no proper way to cross the road, especially with children. They just have to wait when the cars pass by, and then they have to cross. This has been mentioned in one of an earlier report by the council. I think it was 2011-12 as well, this area. So I mean, most of the signatories are just parents, grandparents, and residents of Low Worley. So we want something which would sort of make everyone's life easier. It's just a matter of time something serious happens in this place. Hence, I would like you to take all necessary steps and provide us with a safe pedestrian crossing system as soon as you can. And I want to thank all the committee members and the chair and the colleagues, operational colleagues who helped us to process the application. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. So just in response, the matter is being investigated by officers and an update will be submitted to a future meeting. So thank you very much for coming and speaking on this particular issue, but it has been dealt with officers and hopefully we'll have an update for you in a future meeting. Thank you.
Thank you.
So we'll move on to item 5.3.1, and that is the residents of Hayley Heath area. Trish, do we have anybody from the Hayley Heath area here too?
No, we don't have anyone in respect to that petition today. Thank you, Chair.
Cool. Okay. Well, I'll move on to the next petition then. So that's the residents of Timbertree Crescent, Cradley Heath. Do we have anybody here from that area?
Yes, we've got Miss Fastable, Miss Stevenson and Miss Winkett present.
Okay, cool. So we've got 5 minutes between 3 people. Are you sharing it or is one person speaking on your behalf?
Mandy, do you want to go first?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we
Oh,
can.
that's good. I'm not sure how to work this thing. Yes, we put the petition in. We've since had a gentleman round looking at the trees, but he informed me that the council are only going to cut the small trees down, which is not the problem. The problem is the tall trees with all the big branches coming off. Has anyone else seen anybody or?
No, nobody's come round to our property at number 51, and
No.
we've got one of the tallest oak trees that the canopy overlaps our garden. We've got constant debris, constant branches, constant acorns, constant bird mess.
Yeah.
Damage the property, us as residents being hit by falling things. So nobody's come round to my house. Cutting down small trees isn't a problem.
No,
It's
no.
the height. It's the height of the very tall oak trees, because if one of those falls down, that's my property gone, my next door neighbour's property gone.
The gentleman seemed to disbelieve me about the acorns and said that the trees have to be 30 years old. Well, these trees are over 50 years old. So there's one. They are creaking now, and they shouldn't do that unless they're not very well, the trees. So they are going to fall soon. So the gentleman that came had got no access to the back of the fences. I do. I have the keys and I have the padlocks, and I've told him to let me know when they're coming, and I will gladly unlock the gates. And he's got access to all the back.
We haven't seen it. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
It's Andy Winkett. We're 49. You know, we've been in Timbertree Crescent for nearly 20 years, and the trees have been trimmed once, and it's just unacceptable. Mom has done a detailed email which has gone in support of this petition, and I think the way we've been treated, we get lip service all the time. I've got an outstanding complaint that it hasn't even been, which has been on online since April, and it hasn't even been in. We just have had no feedback on it.
We did a complaint as well. I'm next door neighbour to Andy and Joe. We did a complaint, and again, wasn't even responded to.
Okay, so I'm just going to come back on this. So the good news is that officers are currently in the process of commissioning contractors and confirm that the required work will be carried out by the end of March 2021. So that's the good news, but I'm just listening to your conversation in relation to, so there obviously seems to be a confusion around what type of trees need to be cut and what the area we're talking about. So you're talking mainly in relation to the taller, longer, bigger trees.
Yeah.
So I think what we need to do is,
this is a drawing of our trees at the moment. This is our house. We've been in the house for 25 years almost, and there's 3 very large oak trees that are growing over towards our house.
So if you just allow me to finish the point. So what we'll do is, Trish, can we just find out who the contact officer is and put them in touch with the head petitioner, just to make it absolutely clear which trees we're talking about? Because if we're going to carry out, if we're going to commission somebody, and we're going to, obviously the council is going to spend money by sending somebody out, we want to make sure that the job's done properly and not send somebody out for them to come back and say, well, you didn't do the right trees, go out again, which is doubling the cost. So, Tricia, we can just make sure that the officer responsible with dealing with the commissioning and the work is put in touch with the head petitioner to then make sure that we get the right trees and the right work is carried out to ensure that the job's done properly. And hopefully that should be helpful with the requirements of the petition. I'm going to allow Councillor Taylor to come in, which is indicated. Councillor Taylor. You're on mute, Councillor Taylor.
Terribly sorry. Thank you, Councillor Ali. I'm reminded that we have our residents here this evening that are talking about various complaints that they've actually put in. And, you know, I think as cabinet members, we should be asking what has happened with those complaints. I'd like to know. So this might be something for Tricia to do as well, Chair, if you don't mind. I specifically want to know where these complaints went to and why they weren't responded to. Thank you.
No, thank you, Councillor Taylor. And I think that's a very good point there. If you could just find out what the progress on those complaints are, and you know, see what's happening. It's wrong that complaints are being ignored, and obviously residents have a right to be answered for when they send emails into the council. So thank you. Is that all okay?
Sorry, can I just make one point on the part of Dawn Stevenson? So, like, you know, with obviously when you do come round to do the trees, will you be going to all the individual properties of those who may obviously sign the petition and do a self-assessment on the individual properties to see where the problems are? So, like, obviously, the information what we've given you is the correct information that you're getting to obviously cutting down the trees. Just want a bit of clarity on that.
Yeah, again, I mean, this is not within the area that we work within. So obviously, this is for the officers to deal with. Anything that was highlighted to the council by the petition, that's the concerns that we raised and obviously been dealt with. So anything that was highlighted to the council, that's what we're hoping that will be dealt with. Sorry, yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, would we get notification when somebody was coming out to have a look? Because I mean, if we're at home, we're happy for people to access gardens.
So that would be dependent on let's say the contractors in place first and how the logistics work. We're hoping officer will be in contact with you throughout the process, and then we can, you know, keep that communication going. I think that's a very good point. You need to make sure that you're at home, make sure the work's done properly. The last thing we want to do is get work sent out, and then obviously something gets done, you're not happy about it, and then because it's not been done properly, quite frankly, and then for us to come out, spend more money to come and do it again. Well, let's just get the job done properly from the offset. I'm going to allow Tricia to come in, then Councillor Gillard.
Thank you, Chair. As you know, the petition is with us today for closure, but due to the queries that have been raised by residents and obviously the additional information the committee requests, do you want this petition to remain open and come to a future meeting?
Yes, please. Yes, please. It'd be good to know what happened with the complaints and also the progress of what's happening with the trees being cut, and to make sure that all the work's been done as requested by the residents. Councillor Millard, your hand's now gone down, but
I was just going to completely agree with what you said, Councillor Ali. We need to see this through. Let's make sure if we're going to get someone out to come and do a job, we need to make sure that job's done properly, as opposed to be sitting back here again in 6 months' time, 3 months' time. You know, we need to make sure the job's done. So I was agreeing with you.
Absolutely, and find out the complaints.
Yeah, Mandy, you've got your hand up.
Yes, just a quick one with regard to what Mrs. Taylor was saying. I had a gentleman come from the council. He did reply to my query about the trees last year, and I was told that Stanwell Council did not own the land, and under no circumstances would they be cutting any trees down. That was last year. Now council do obviously own the land, so I think people who work for the council need to get the facts straight.
Okay, cool, but that's noted. Well, thank you very much, and if you're happy, then we'll agree those proposals, and hopefully let's try and get this sorted as soon as possible and make sure it's done properly. And obviously your concerns on the complaints that were raised, hopefully we'll get a resolution to those as well. Thank you. So now we're going to move on to the next thing. So Tricia will confirm on which petitions closure has been sought, and we'll call on each committee member to confirm whether they agree the following petition should be closed. Floor is yours, Tricia.
Thank you, Councillor Ali. Just to highlight to the committee that those petitions in section 5.2 of the report are still outstanding and will come back to a future meeting. On the back of the discussion today, we just have one petition for closure, which is the Sapper building in Hatley Heath. So I'd just call on each of you to confirm if you're happy with the actions set out in the report in relation to that petition. Councillor Ali, are you happy with that course of action for the Sapper building in Hatley Heath?
Yes.
Councillor Taylor?
Yes.
Councillor Millard?
Yes, thanks, Trish.
Thank you. And the petition regarding these trees will come back to a future meeting. We'll get some more information for the residents.
Fantastic. Thank you. On that note, thank you ever so much, everybody, for attending, and I'll close the meeting now. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
all.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good night.
Bye.
Thank you.